Hey Shane, how are you? Thanks for joining me, buddy. Just thought I'd go live whilst I'm just doing a few bits at the desk and whatnot. This is the Polyrachus dives in the multi-species tank. There's also like beetles and isopods on screen in a minute. Tomorrow we've got what they call tarantula-tastic enclosures. I can never say it properly, but that's going to be absolute awesome. Obviously, that's the picnic table replacing my Wednesday videos as well on a Sunday. So that made no sense. You know what I mean. 8:30 start. We'll start in this tank, and 9 o'clock the interview starts. It's a bit different to the ants that we normally have, but like his enclosures are just amazing. He's got like Star Wars enclosures and stuff like that, like themed stuff rather than the more natural settings that I'm used to making. And it's just going to be really cool because he does like tarantulas and other stuff, you know, other more interesting stuff. Not more interesting stuff, but other interesting stuff of a different nature. So it's going to be an awesome one. And then, so we got him tomorrow, that's Steve. And then on Saturday, we got my video coming out. Right, hang on. I need to start again. Everything. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, I'm going to do the giveaway draw thing. So don't miss that bit. If I'm sure you've entered the giveaway, I'm pretty sure I saw you on there. Yeah, there you go. The Discord competition, I think we're running that to the 10th now because we had an issue with one of the bots. So we've given it more time to like gather more data. So that I think is on the 10th, but we'll finish the YouTube one tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Then after that, I'll put on the feeding in the tank. Then at 9 o'clock, we'll have tarantula-tastic enclosures. Then obviously you've voted through the giveaway, you voted for the video that you're going to see on Saturday. I'll tell you now, it's looking like it's going to be the bullet ants, if I'm completely honest, which is really cool. So that video is on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we have Pourmore Art Ant Shop from Canada. They are really cool, really interesting, brilliant people, and on my Discord as well. So, hang on, what species are in there? Sorry, just answering a thing. And then Monday, I've got my review video coming out. Next Wednesday, we're going to have an open mic night. So anyone can just join in. If you want the invite, I'll send you the link so that you can join in and chat live to me and probably everyone else who's decided to join on. They're normally really fun. And then on the. And then, yeah, hopefully I'll get to 450. I'm getting close. It's going up so fast now, 406 or something now. And then the video is going to be absolutely amazing as well. It's the 6th. Oh, what is it? The Discord one, Elwin, is going to end on, I think it's the 10th. And the YouTube one is ending tomorrow. What was I saying? Yeah, so next Saturday's video is going to be a really, really good one. I've sort of given hints to what colony it's about and stuff like that. Make sure you do not miss that video because it's just a really good video. I've done quite a bit of hard work on that video. Like, just the whole idea of it, and there was like different phases I had to go through, and it was just really interesting project. So don't miss that video. And then we've got Perthshire Ocelots next Sunday. So that's going to be another really interesting one. Obviously not ants again, but just they do really interesting things with like bearded dragons and ocelots and other stuff. And they have like lots of charity stuff that they do. So it's worth signing in for that one as well. But obviously worth signing in for every picnic table because you don't want to miss one because it's always good fun. So the leveling up one, yeah, I'll double check. Give me 2 seconds. I'll just double check that it was the 10th that we agreed on. La da da la da 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 la dee da 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 la da 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 da. Da, 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 ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Okay, it's ending on the 9th. So that is the 9th, not the 10th. It is ending on the 9th. So let me double check what day that is. So that is the Sunday. So that is the same day we are doing the interview with Paul Moore. That is the day that the Discord will be ending in competitions. I've just got to mute the microphone for 1 second because I've got to deal with some children. Hello, everyone. I am here. I'm just running about doing a few things. Thanks, everyone, for signing in for this one. We actually have someone on Twitch as well. 4S725, welcome. Thank you for joining us on our Twitch platform. It's very rare that I get viewers on Twitch, so it's really cool that you've joined via that. Like, really, really cool, actually. I have thought about adding in the like doodads that you get on the sides for Twitch, you know what I mean. But I don't know exactly how to do it via this software. I'm working on my Twitch. We're working on Twitch. It's getting better all the time. You get more streams like this on Twitch, just random streams at the tank. Yeah, that's it. The emojis and things like that, when people comment and things like that, like things happen on the screen on Twitch for all my YouTube viewers which don't know. So that might happen at some point, but I don't know if like loading it onto the software would do it on the YouTube as well, and it might get a bit too much because sometimes during the streams we have like you basically so I've got a lot of work to go before I hit affiliate. Anyone that's on the YouTube, I don't know if you can see the messages come through from Twitch, but I can actually see both right now, which is really handy. But yeah, I'm just gonna put the kettle on 1 second because I'm dying for a coffee. 1 second. Okay, so some of you are saying you are, some of you are saying you're not watching Book of Boba Fett. I've been really excited about Book of Boba Fett. I'm absolutely in love with anything Star Wars, to be honest. I'm a massive Star Wars nerd, like massive. Yeah, I think it's gone really well so far. I really enjoyed that first episode. I'm looking forward to tomorrow when they release the next episode. I'm going to watch it like first thing in the morning before I go to the gym. I've actually watched the first episode of their last week's probably about 20 times now. I watched it like 6 times on the day it was released. I've watched all the breakdowns and all the extra special features. I've watched everything. I'm quite a nerd about it, but do I think it could rival The Mandalorian? That's a really hard question. Yes and no. Storyline wise, by the looks of it, they've only planned 8 episodes. That's like one series, one season, whatever you want to call it. Whereas The Mandalorian, it, it could go like, because now he's obviously got rid of Grogu, the next season is going to be something special. It's going to be more about other things, I hope. I think he might end up teaming up with Boba again. I don't know. They're going to cross paths. What's been really interesting for me is working out the timeline. Like, I'm currently watching back The Mandalorian like 4 or 5 episodes a day, just to kind of work out like. So The Mandalorian was chasing down the Jawas, like in the first series, roughly at the same time. Boba was with the Sand People, doing that stuff. So, trying to work out the timelines, trying to figure out how long Boba was in the Sarlacc pit. That's kind of, I've worked out, it can't have been much more than a few days. There's been lots of different opinions, but like you can see Jabba's sail barge is still there, and it's not so much smoldering anymore. There's you can see it's big wreckage, but the Jawas haven't turned up yet. So it can't have been like more than a few days. Like, simple as that. Otherwise, the Jawas would have been there to pick it clean. But that's just my opinion on that. The scene at the end with the big creature monster thing was actually, it was really cool, and I really enjoyed the scene, but it's actually my least favorite part of it so far, because it comes with no wider real context, whereas a lot of the other like refers back to lore, or there's other context to take in. Who are these guys with the shields that attacked Boba in the middle of town? Are they a rival faction? Are they the mayor running a rival faction? I don't know, but I think that could be interesting. To be honest, I reckon it's the mayor's, whatever he's running, came out and attacked Boba or whatnot. There's a couple of different theories about it, but that's my view. It's good. It's got a lot of wider context. I'm waiting to see. Like, I'm always a little bit dubious about how much Disney is going to take from the original canon and the original Legends kind of series and books and comics and all of that lot. But what they've kind of done is they've taken a bit of both and amalgamated it into something of their own, which is kind of still stuck within storylines. You can't, it's still good. They've concreted what the other two sides were saying. He still escapes from the Sarlacc pit using his jetpack and flames and things like that. He doesn't fly out of it with his jetpack, but it's all, yeah. I enjoyed it. The Kenobi series, hopefully that's gonna, like you say, fill in a lot of those gaps. I'm expecting, because Kenobi is on Tatooine, you might see Kenobi and the Mandalorian cross paths. You might see Kenobi and Boba cross paths again. Hard to say. No, you won't see those two. Who was I thinking? So there's other people. Yeah, you might see them all meet. You might not. There's other people on Tatooine that you might see in Kenobi as well. And obviously, we're thinking Kenobi's going to go fight Darth Vader potentially again. We might see that. Like, I don't know how they're going to quite pull that off in the lore of it as such, but that'll be an interesting one. And then we've got the Andor series and the other series, the Republic series, coming out as well. So that's all. It's gonna be really interesting, and really cool to watch. The Andor series is going to be like, sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. The Andor series, I think that's like his life in the rebellion and things like that. It's going to be interesting to see what that's about. Like, I don't know much context behind the Andor series, not like I do, you know, Obi-Wan. We all know who Obi-Wan is, but Andor's a fairly new character, you know. I can talk a lot about Star Wars. What did we think of the new 3 films? Because everyone's kind of like, yeah, they were good, they were bad. I think they were really good films, but you have to take them away from the others. You can't compare them to the other films because they're like different, if you know what I mean. But I don't know, I think they did a good job. So there's a massive gap between the prequels and sequels. Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of people do think, like, because of the way Palpatine shows up in the last film and things like that, it wasn't really well done. Even I was a little bit surprised when Palpatine showed up on Exegol. I mean, I've obviously seen the lore and stuff way before this about his cloning experiments and things like that, but I just never expected to actually see him come back in a film. I think they definitely could have done something better, but I can see why they went the route that they did. Like, he's the embodiment of all the Sith, never ending, sort of load of, yeah. But I enjoyed the films. You know, they were good for what they were, but they definitely could have improved on the storyline a bit. It was just cool to see like the new AT walkers, the old stuff blown up on Jakku, and I really like to see Jakku. Like, it'd be really cool if they could do like, because they've done the Thrawn books now. It'd be really cool if they could do a Thrawn series where like you see a bit more of what he did. I'd like to see anywhere, any episode, anything covered the Battle of Jakku, because obviously that was a massive, massive battle, like one of the last holdouts of the Imperial remnants. But you say that, like, because of the new 3 films, because of Starkiller Base, they put in lore that Starkiller Base was being built on the planet Ilum from like almost day one of the Empire, and it carried on hidden there for the whole time. So the Empire never really stopped. They just carried on Ilum Starkiller Base, you know. Let's have a little look about the tank again. Oh, don't knock it over. That's the big nest that was woven, we could say woven by the Polyrachus dives. Zoom in a bit more. Hang on. No. That's about as close as I can get. Huge it is. Huge. Yeah, you're always welcome to ask questions in my streams. Like, I enjoy answering these questions. As you can tell, I talk for England. That's the big old nest. And then that's the jug where they originally lived in the first small formicarium thing. Yeah, I do come from the UK. 4S725. I hope I'm pronouncing your name wrong. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do come from the UK, right at the south of the UK. I've got like a little island here that, not my own island, I wish, but I come from a little island. So it's really famous for its quarries. So that's why I'm called Ants on a Rock, because all the ants here live on a massive rock, basically. This island is just a massive rock sticking out at the bottom of the UK. Gonna go about a little bit more. These ants absolutely love. Hello, Roger. Thank you for signing in, buddy. Yeah, these ants absolutely love their sugars. They've just smashed down 2 more towers, so I put the third one in. Basically, what I do is I'll fill up these 2, and then when they or near enough empty them, I'll add in the third. And then when that one starts getting low, or when they move off of these 2, I'll take these 2 out and fill it up again, so that they've always got sugars. They always have sugars, because as you can see, they just go nuts for it. Absolutely nuts. Feeding protein tomorrow, obviously the live stream before the picnic table tomorrow, so don't miss that. We'll probably get a couple of dubia roaches, or if I go to town, which is unlikely to be honest, but I do need to go to town, I'm going to get a load of waxworms, because that's obviously really fun to film. Or I might even get a pinky. They do absolutely love their pinkies. They destroy them. So I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat now and answer some of your questions or messages. Solenopsis and Argentine ants are going to take over the earth. Shane says that. Yeah, Shane, to be honest, Solenopsis are seeming to take over America already, and the Argentine ants are just everywhere as well. I think the only place that we're really safe is my little island at the bottom of the UK, because not much is going to survive here in the horrible, horrible windy winter. So what next? 4 hours, and obviously you had to plan out for Myrmecoruba do have flights. I'm just gonna see if I can highlight that. Like that should come up on the main screen now, so everyone can see it. Myrmecoruba do have flights in the UK. They actually originated over Europe more, but they've spread throughout England over the last 20, 30 years. Mainly, I would say last year, to be honest. Last year, not the year just gone, one before, we had insane nuptial flights both in England and Europe, and a lot of the European ant species actually got blown over into England. If they've managed to survive in our climate, then we've got them now, including a lot more Myrmecoruba. I actually found some Myrmecoruba on my island, which surprised me, but I think they died out over winter now. Your best places for finding them would probably be I actually have good luck in concreted areas. Most people would say marshy forests, that sort of place. But I actually have better luck in, well, like I say, I found a colony quite close to me actually, just outside of a general use building. And it was on the path, in a crack of the path, and I saw the worker and I thought, oh, I recognise that. So I quickly grabbed out my test tube out my pocket, because I always carry a test tube. Whacked it in there, had a little closer look, and it was Myrmecoruba. And that was literally just living in the cracks of the pavement. So, I mean, they're everywhere. They're like quite a common one in the UK now, much like the Lasius, Flavus, and Nigers, which are just absolutely everywhere. But Myrmeca, you can kind of find them everywhere at the moment. Just not as common as the Lasius species or some of the other species we have in England. I think we even get we get some really cool ants in England, but they're incredibly rare, you know. Where do I get my cleaning insects from? From Roger. My cleaning insects, such as the springtails and isopods, I got a culture of each from, what are they called? I can't think for the life of me what they're called now. I shall look it up. I'm just looking it up. Ah, yes, right. So Reptile Centre. Swell Reptile Centre is where I got my first cultures from. They were only a couple of quid each. I got some powder blue isopods and some springtails. and I've cultured them into the thousands for myself. Well, when we say the springtails, I've got millions of springtails over the different boxes now. They're obviously in all my enclosures. I've got a huge cultivating box full of them, and the isopods have a bin the same size as I grow my dubia roaches in. So there's absolutely thousands of them as well. I need to probably do something about it at some point, but I don't mind. They're cool pets as well. I've got thousands of isopods. Yeah, they're really easy species to look after. They don't really require a little bit of water every now and then. I chuck in cucumber to the isopods, same as I do my massive tank here. And what else do I feed? I feed the odd bits of protein, any leftover scraps that I didn't feed to the colonies that I've cut up. Heads of mealworms go in there as well. They like stuff like that, and they need the exoskeletons because they contain calcium and stuff like that. So they need that to be able to reproduce their own exoskeletons, basically. But the springtails. Oh, I also use that dry bug grub stuff. That's really good, but it does mold really fast. So I use it quite often for my springtails because they'll wait for it to mold and then eat all the mold. Can't you also get heater pads and stuff? Yes. So Swell Reptiles is a great store. They do all sorts of different stuff for your enclosures, different stuff for. It's mainly reptiles, but I use it a lot for my ants. And yeah, they do the like cleaner insects. They do. Let's have a little look actually. Let's have a little look whilst I've got it right in front of me, and I can tell you, they do loads of different cool stuff. It is a little bit expensive, but you pay for quality. I don't. I always say pay nice or pay for nice, or you pay twice, or whatever it is. They do loads of stuff. They're great for bioactive setups, and I love my bioactive setups. They've currently got tropical grey isopods, the same as I've got, are currently £2.50. Their springtails are £2.99, and they are reduced at the minute, so now's a great time to buy them, I suppose. But they have loads. Giant olive woodlice, granulated isopods, Greek pillbug isopods, bean weevils. And then that's just like looking at the live stuff. They've got so much different stuff for your reptiles or pets or whatever you've got, like enclosures and everything they've got. There's the 91 times 45 times 90 centimeter swell glass terrarium, 269.99 reduced from 369.99. So that's £100 off at the minute. That's fairly decent. Yeah, they do all sorts of stuff. I mean, I don't tend to use them for decoration because I like to make my own decoration pieces, but it's there if you want to have a look. I mean, I might even be able to, if I do. No, there is a way that I can share it on the screen, but I have no idea how. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. How's everyone doing today? Is anyone having any trouble with their ants and they want to talk about or anything like that? Look, we got a beetle there. And he's off, being pushed away by the ants. Okay, Flores725 says he does actually, he or she, I don't know if you're he or she, I'm so sorry. They do have an issue. So go for it. If you want to put that in a message, I'll put it up and we shall see if we can help you. Let's have a little look down the other end of the tank. Whoa. Down the far end is where the pond is. where the crabs live. And believe it or not, when I tell people I have crabs, the first thing they do is burst into laughter, and I can't work out why. Oh dear, oh dear. Is everyone on my Discord? If you're not on my Discord, make sure you join it. I can put a link in if you want. It's just a great place. Loads of people chatting and stuff, other stuff. Just, bit of fun. And obviously, I'm there pretty much all the time. You can always send me a message on there, and it's probably the best way of getting a hold of me personally. So I recently bought a pair of Camponotus nicobarensis queens that came in the same test tube. They came about 1 month and 2 weeks ago. I instantly gave them a drop of honey and put them over a heater in a dark place. Okay, that sounds good. Elwyn, I believe my Polyrhacus dives came from Ants HQ quite a while back now, so I'm pretty sure it was Ants HQ, like 99.9% sure. If you go on their Instagram, they do have pictures of my tank, so you'd be able to tell it came from them. Right, so second part. I've checked up on them 3 to 4 times now, which isn't bad in a month and a half. And they have laid 3 eggs between the two, and they have eaten one of them. And I have no idea why. Okay, so you've got 2 queens. You've got 2 queens that aren't necessarily laying. They should be laying because they're nicobarensis, and if you're heating them, they should be happy. And I'm guessing they're in a dark. You got them in a dark place. You got them over a heater. You've given them honey. They shouldn't need protein because they would have stocked up on protein before their nuptial flights and mating and becoming actual queens. So you shouldn't need to do that. It's a hard one. Sometimes it just takes a while. Sometimes queens are naff. But normally with nicobarensis, I would expect some kind of explosion, to be honest. The best person to speak to is probably Ants Hood, because he has a Nico colony, which is absolutely amazing. Thriving Nicos. I've never actually kept them myself. I had a queen once, which I got as a rescue, and she died the day later, which didn't really class as a rescue, I suppose. It was more of a me holding on to a queen for a bit. It's a difficult one. It could be the frequency still that you checked. I mean, when I have a queen, I won't check for 2 months at a time. I won't even touch the test tube. I won't look. I won't go near it for 2 months at a time, minimum of 6 weeks. And that's because it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks per stage. So if you think 2 to 3 weeks as an egg, 2 to 3 weeks as a larvae, 2 to 3 weeks as a cocoon, so you're talking 9 weeks there. Well, potentially 9 weeks until you have your workers, if you know what I mean. Any disruption in that, especially with Camponotus, even nicobarensis actually can be quite sensitive in that very early founding stage. It's when they get going that they're not so sensitive. I remember Hood and me were talking about that actually. So it might just be the frequency still that you're checking. I would put them back. Make sure it's a quiet area as well, because Camponotus, because of their abilities to communicate with tapping and sound, they're really extra sensitive to sound vibrations. So the what did they call it? The vibrations that you give off from shouting and stuff, they can actually sense that and pick up on it really intensely, which they don't like at all. So that's one thing about Campanotus, which makes them extra difficult in comparison to other ants. So like I say, it might just be that they're just being a little bit too disturbed still, and you want to give them that little bit longer. I'm pretty sure once you get past that first nanitic stage, get your 10 workers or whatever from each one, you'll probably explode out and not know where to do with them. But I know they can be a little bit fidgety in that early stage, quite irritating. I've always struggled with Campanotus. Like, I've got 5 colonies of Campanotus at the moment, and only a couple of them are doing any good, and the other ones, I don't know. I've got one queen which has refused to do anything for like 6 months or so. So I'm considering just putting her in a natural environment, letting her dig her own fountain chamber and hoping for the best, basically. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. You know, it's always a debatable thing because it's a much harder way to start a colony for them, actually, in a natural way. It's much easier to live in a test tube because they don't have to expend any energy in digging. Okay, whilst I'm here and I've got a couple of people viewing, what do we think of my intro? I don't know if you would have seen my intro on my actual videos if you've only watched the streams. Let me see. I think I have it. I go. Basically, I don't know if I should change my intro soon. It's been the same for a year or so now. Which I'm not too bothered about that, but I don't know if I want to like make it more upbeat or just change it to show more of what I do now, because I made this intro so long ago. It's like it's quite basic, right? I don't know. It just doesn't show off the channel in the best light. I think there could be more that could be done. It's currently uploading. It might take like a year to upload. We'll see. It shouldn't do. There's all sorts I could do here, but I have no idea what they are. Right, that is uploading. We have got another one. This is the one for the picnic table. I've never used this one. Never used it. And I probably never will, because it says every Sunday, and it's now every Wednesday and Sunday. So that's pretty much useless. But it was a good half an hour spent, you know. Yay, I got it to zoom in just where, yeah, it was silly idea. I do lots of silly things like that. Got loads and loads of little clip videos that have never been used that I thought, this might work one day. But yeah, I need to get better at animation, quite frankly. I need to get better at animation, and I just need to get better at most of it. It will take time and practice. I did media studies in school, but I didn't finish school, and that was many, many, many years ago. Being 30 now, I am an old man, and school feels like a whole life ago. Well, it was a bit. Okay, Australian Polyrhacus Plus. You think it's cute? Okay, well, fair enough. I have been told by a few people that it's a good one. I shouldn't get rid of it. I don't know, like that. I don't know what that is, but if you do it again, I'll block you. Simples. I am old. Thank you for saying I'm not old. Right, so I don't know if you know. I explain it quite often, and I'm very open about it. I have certain health conditions, which are, so I've spent the last 6 years of my life as an athlete, training hard every day. My health conditions I've had for a long time, but they're starting to slow me down now. Like I'm feeling it more, and I've started slowing down. So this is one of the reasons I've got more into my ant keeping. I always kept ants, but now I've really exploded into it. Started doing the streaming and stuff because it's something I can do when I can no longer be an athlete. I've got sort of conditions that as you get older, your body deteriorates. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no cure for it. And it will be the end of me. I'll have quite an early death. It's not a bad thing, so no one feels sorry for me. I'm not saying it for that, but I'm just saying I'm not old age-wise, but my body is aging beyond its years. Does that make sense? So I feel old. I'm tired. I'm sore and achy, and I go through some pretty rough stuff almost on a daily basis now. So when I say I'm old, it just generally means I'm slowing down. I can't run and jump anymore, put it that way. I do still compete. I've got a competition in a couple of weeks as a strongman in Dorset Strongest Man. I've just had a boxing match a couple of weeks ago. I do triathlon as well, so swimming, cycling, and running. So I do all sorts, but I ain't gonna lie to myself. I won't be able to do it forever, or possibly much longer. I've had a great run. I try and do the best I can for my condition. My condition is I've got bronchiectasis and emphysema, osteoporosis, and a few other things basically. But the bronchiectasis is the main one, and not many people have heard of it. It's the brother disease to cystic fibrosis. So it's a long-term health condition that affects the lungs, making it harder and harder to breathe till eventually I won't be able to, basically. I get recurrent chest infections, and it's pretty grim. So it's just one of those things that you learn to live with. It sucks, but so I always try and advertise the fact that I've got it and I haven't given up. So I started a thing called #bronchiectasis warriors a few years back, and I got quite a large following with that as well. I help other people around the world with that condition by doing free stream Zoom classes and stuff, like workouts and just chatting, just to change their mindset more than anything, rather than get them exercising. It's to change the mindset of, oh no, I've got this condition. What am I going to do with my life? To, I've got this condition, but I'm not going to let it define me. I can still do what I want. I just have to fight a little bit harder. And that's the way I've always seen it. Like, I can still compete. I just have to train harder than everyone else. I have to work harder and just outdo everyone. And that's sort of the attitude I've always had. As you can tell, when I dive into something, I just dive straight in and just go full on at it. Roger, thank you for bringing that up. Roger's just brought up a great point. Those gel setups, the jelly setups, the gel farms that you buy on Amazon, absolutely rubbish. We want rid of them. The gel is actually really bad for the ants. Like it's pretty much toxic. It turns moldy really fast. It is useless. Has no nutritional value for the ants either. And that's probably why they die so fast. But I can see why they were a product years ago. Like people knew a lot less. The hobby wasn't such a thing. There wasn't so many shops, and I can see why it became a product. But it definitely needs to. The market has changed, and I can't see why they haven't. Well, no, they haven't changed because they're still making money, basically. But the problem is they're making money off newbie ant keepers, which are making mistakes. Because like as soon as they realise that their ants are going to die, they go onto the Facebook groups and whatnot, and they ask for help. And the first thing we say is, "Oh no, it's one of these gel ant nests. Let's get rid of the gel and replace it with sand." And those ones, like the Dr. Milton ones with the sand, I think. Are they the Dr. Milton? Yeah, there are sand ones, aren't there? And they're all right. But again, like they haven't been well thought out, like how to hydrate the nest, how to feed the ants or any of that. You need to connect it up to that outworld still. It's the next step, but it's not to the standard that we're at now with the products on the line now. Like products today are just so much better. Yeah, I mean, thank you for pointing that out, Australian Polyrhacus Plus. Until you understand the ants themselves, you don't know how bad they are for them. Yeah, I mean, I think these products were really set up by big companies thinking, oh, we can make a quick buck here. Like, they probably did a bit of research, but even the research they would have done would have been like 20, 30 years ago, whatever. And it's so different now. Like, everything's different about it. The way we keep them is different. The information I first had when I first started 10 years ago, like, no, how long? I'm 30 now. 13 years ago, I started ant keeping, and the information I had then is very, very, very different to the information I have now. Like to the point where I would say what I learned initially, most of it is actually bad for the ants. Initially, like there wasn't places to really go out and buy ants like the Ant Lady and Ant Davy and so on. The book I had actually said, go and dig up a colony outside. If you dig really deep, you'll find the queen. And it was like, oh my God, I never actually did that. What I would go and do is just take like the top layer off the ground and I'd stick that straight into the ant nest that I had. I'd just let them sort themselves out. But I'd only ever get workers and a few larvae and pupae. I never wanted to get the queen because I knew how bad that was for the colony. So yeah, I only ever had workers for like the first 10-ish years. Yeah, probably the first 10 years. I only had colonies with workers of Lasius niger that I had got from basically my garden. And then, like I say, as things have developed, knowledge has developed, I now know where to get ants. There's more ants available. The whole situation of ant keeping has changed. Shane is back. Nice that you're back, buddy. And you've got Dominoes. I wish I had Dominoes. I have a cup of coffee, and that's about it in a minute. A bad cough. Cup of coffee and a bad cough. Oh dear. I'm just writing out questions for tomorrow for tarantula-tastic enclosures. If you've got anything you want to throw in, feel free to post it up in the comments. It's going to be a really interesting one. I don't know if you've seen his videos. Let's see if I can do this. Hold on. Now, I've been learning, literally whilst we've been on this stream here right now, I've been learning how to share other doodads and whatnot. So if we go Here we go. Shane, you're asking any plans for summer for more ants? There's more ants coming to the channel, right? So this Saturday coming, is it? Yeah, this Saturday coming, we've got the video you've voted for. Next Saturday, I've got a little release surprise sort of thing. Like, I'm going to show you some more ants, basically. I do have more colonies in the waiting game sort of thing. I've got some more that are just queens at the minute that I'm just leaving to see if they actually do make it. I've got a couple which have been featured and haven't shown themselves for a long time. They're planned, and I do plan to get a couple more, but I need to wait for one of them to come into stock, and the other one I've got to wait until I move, because the setup that I want to keep them in, I have no space for it left. It's quite a large setup. Again, it would probably be about the same size as my multi-species tank. So let's see if I can do this a second. The colonies I own at the moment are... sorry, I was just going to say, I got my bullet ants, my Polyrachus dives, my Murano plus bicolor, 5 colonies of Camponotus, which I'm not going to tell you what they are exactly because I'm keeping some of that secret. I've got 3 other secret colonies. I've got European honeypots, loads of Lasius niger, Mesobarbarus redhead and blackhead. I've got Lasius flavus, Myrmica ruba, rubida. I'm sure there's more that I cannot remember. I've got quite a few colonies at the moment. 32 colonies at the moment that I've got. And then obviously I've got my scorpions and everything else as well. My wife absolutely loves it. My biggest colonies is probably the Polyrachus dives is my biggest colony. And then the second biggest colony would probably be my colony that I share with my daughter, Lasius niger. Basically, they just exploded out. They're in the, I don't know how many workers they've got, but during the summer, I'd say they were well into the 200 or 300s easily. This is a first year colony as well. Like, they shouldn't have these numbers. And then they're still going through the winter. They are a little bit in diapause, but they are still eating, taking on protein and going through like 2 water towers every day, basically. So they are still going. And I think they're probably around 1,000. Like, because they're in a T-shaped formicarium, you can look into the nest where they've dug in the sand, and they're probably in the thousands now. Like, there's just so many of them for a first year colony. It's absolutely insane. I got that colony of Lasius niger at the same time I got another colony of Lasius niger. They were both at the same stage at that point. I think that one had a few more eggs actually. And that's the one that my daughter was like, well, I want to look after that one because it's got more eggs. So I let her take that one. And the one that I took is done well. And they're well into like 50 or so workers, which is more what you'd expect from a first year. But her one is just in the hundreds and thousands. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And she did have slightly different methods. I've got a video on my YouTube, and it's like my secret weapon or whatever it is. And it's the box that we kept them in. Basically, the whole box is dark. So they're in the dark even when they're in the outworld all the time, but you have viewing through the red. So it's basically like your outworld box is made from the red acrylic, which would be pretty cool. So that works really well as a founding box for them, because they're like, there's the sand in there if they want to build themselves a barrier to make themselves feel safer. It's dark, it's got all the food, it's the right temperature, the right environment, it's humid, all of that. It's just perfect, you know. So that works really, really well. So that, like I say, I think that must be what gave them the edge as such. If we say gave them the edge. But that, yeah, so her colony's doing like 5 times better than my colony. And that's the only explanation I have for it. Apart from she fed hers like slightly less than I fed mine, but you'd think that would slow them down a bit. We've just got a question here from Mark Vega. Thank you for tuning in, Mark. Not a name I recognise. In here are Polyrhacus dives, which are weaver ants. So this is the nest that they've built out of sticks and debris and silk, which is spun by their larvae. There's also lots of isopods and beetles. There's millipedes, springtails, worms, stick insects, vampire crabs over in the pond section. There's quite a lot going on in here, but you mainly get to see the ants during this time of day because they're just always about. The nighttime insects will come out after about 11 o'clock. But yeah, it's an interesting tank. There's always lots going on. So thank you for tuning in and having a little look. Have I ever tried termites? And can you buy them? You can buy them. I can't remember exactly who has them at the minute, but they are about. Thank you, Shane. The ant lady has stocked them before. I do want to keep them, but I didn't want to. Like, at the time that I was looking at keeping them, like 2 or 3 other YouTubers had just got termites, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be like accused of copying them, you know. So I didn't get the termites, and it was one of my ideas for the big tank that you're looking at, is actually to have ants on one side and termites on the other. But I went with the crabs in the pond in the end, actually, which is probably like, it was one of my best choices because I love my vampire crabs, and it really does change the feel of the pond. Not the pond, the tank. I don't know if the wire is long enough to have a look, but we can have a look. No crabs about at the minute, though, slightly annoyingly. But they never come out when you're looking for them. They always come out like randomly. You'll just see one run across the screen or something. Shane's asking, would I ever consider to keep Camponotus nicobarensis? Nikos, I did have a queen. It was sent to me by a close friend who was struggling with it. It died after a couple of days. I would like Nikos, but they take up a lot of space. I just don't have that sort of space at the minute. Like, lots of the colonies that I'm getting at the moment are smaller, or they just don't, you know, they're not going to require such space in that amount of time. I am planning to move in the next year or so. I just need to find the right place, basically. And once that's done, I can start expanding the ant collection a bit more. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Sorry, it literally just went, everything's just stopped. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'm guessing you can hear me. Gecko Ants. Yeah, I did notice Antscapes was doing that. I don't know if he got the idea from me or not. I've been doing these for the last couple of weeks, really. You get a lot more of these live streams on Twitch, on my Twitch account. I just kind of leave the tank running, much like Antscapes is doing. Just leave the tank running on a feeding or whatever. Or I think he's doing 24-hour live stream, which is something I actually did plan. Quite interesting. I was planning to have live stream with cameras between different tanks that would like change throughout the day, basically. So you get like 5 tanks or whatever, like throughout the day, couple of hours each. So it's quite cool that he's already doing a 24-hour live stream. We end up doing a lot of the same stuff. We do communicate a lot in the background, as you know. But yeah, I just thought I'd go live tonight just because I'm sat at the desk writing and chatting and doing lots of other things. So I thought, why not chat to everyone who's there? Obviously, I am doing the picnic table tomorrow. So if you're here, don't forget to check that out. The picnic table is going to be amazing. We got tarantula-tastic enclosures tomorrow. So it's not just about ants. It's going to be about tarantulas and their enclosures. And his enclosures are absolutely amazing. I'll show you a video of them in a second. Mark's asking, do you have fire ants? I have European fire ants, which is the Myrmecoruba. Yeah, I've got 3 colonies of Myrmecoruba at the moment, which is really cool, and the Manicurubida, which are the slightly larger ones. Yeah, they're all really good. I like them. I wouldn't get Solenopsis just because they're more stressed and fun. I think like they're not my sort of colony. Let's see if I can share that video. Go to here. Right. I hope you can all see this. But yeah, like his enclosures are really, really cool. Like, anyway, if we go up, tarantula-tastic enclosures, videos. Like he's got stuff like Star Wars builds, and look at that, like a skeleton in there. And like it's just really cool, different style to what me or Antscape's going to do with our naturalistic environments. He's got some natural environments, but a lot of this is like other cool stuff. You know what I mean? Look at that, like Freddy Krueger. No, not Freddy Krueger. What am I on about? That's a Jason mask, isn't it? Freddy and Jason get the two mixed up. God, oh, wow, there's one come down on me on YouTube. But yeah, I think they're really cool enclosures. It's going to be really interesting anyways. Yeah. Are bull ants and bullet ants one and the same? No, bull ants and bullet ants are different species. Bullet ants are Diacama reductum, and bull ants, there's several different species which are classed as bull ants actually, but I think most come from Australia. Whereas my bullet ants come from more of the Asian countries like Polynesia and stuff. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that. I think there's a loose wire at the back, or it needs to turn off and on again, sort of thing. Because I pulled a wire out earlier. It's my own fault. But if it does that, just keep chatting amongst yourself, and I'll come back as and when I can. Mark's actually saying about assassin bugs. I avoided assassin bugs. It's one I considered for it, but I avoided them in the end, just because I don't want too many apex predators living in the tank. You know, the dives are top dog in this tank. If they want to kill something, they can. Um, and they probably will end up killing everything as their numbers grow. This is one of the reasons I want to expand them into a much larger tank very soon, as soon as I move. Hey, Mark, the green ants that you're referring to are probably the true weaver ants, and it's one I've actually avoided keeping. I looked at them, but I instead got the Polyrhacus dives, which are lesser weaver ants, mainly because of the setup that you require for them. Like, they require a lot more space than the Polyrhacus dives, and I like they prefer the higher canopy, whereas Polyrhacus dives prefer the lower. So it just seems more suitable for my environment and the sort of parameters I can keep them in to have the Polyrhacus dives. Although um, I would like to have proper weaver ants someday. But again, I've got to move. I need like a whole ant mansion just for all my ants. Hello, I'm back. Hello, ARH. Thank you for signing on and having a look at my massive multi-species tank. So it hasn't got an open lid as such. Right, I will show you if my thing will allow it. There we go. It's got a lid, but there is holes in the lid and wires which they can climb straight out of. Basically, I don't like. There is a barrier, but they can pass with the wires very easily. I don't like the idea that they can't escape if, say, something goes wrong in the pond and it floods. So they can always basically go out the wire. The minute they leave the tank, they're out of the environment that's suitable for them and they start to get cold. So they don't go far. They generally stay on the lid of the tank. But it's a good way of me knowing that something's wrong in the environment of the tank. It's only happened twice. Both of the times was, like I said, something had gone wrong in the pump of the pond and it had flooded the drainage area completely, making their nest slightly wetter than it should have been. So they just decided to move out. They moved out to the top of the tank and just sat there. So I came home, I sorted out the leak in the pump and all of that, and I got them back in the tank. It was really easy, actually. So that's basically what I go with. They're not going to go far because the room that they're in is actually kept deliberately colder than the environments that the bullet ants need and the Polyrhacus dives need. The bullet ants actually do live in an open top tank, and that is simply because I didn't have a lid with it. But it doesn't matter. Like it works. Everything's done fine. Like it keeps the humidity because I put extra sphagnum moss in the tank whilst it was being built, and this helps keep the moisture level extra high and just helps maintain that humidity level around the tank. Works quite well. I will be signing off very shortly, just so everybody knows. Okay, this is going to be the last question I answer before signing off. How painful is a bullet ant sting? Yeah, that would be quite a good one. Basically, my bullet ants aren't true bullet ants, they're Asian bullet ants. Diamicama medodum. I can't remember what the true bullet ants are called. But mine feel like a really bad wasp sting, and it will bruise and be horrible for a couple of weeks. A proper bullet ant, the sting can it will affect your nervous system. It will affect you for weeks and weeks, possibly months. It's pretty nasty. You don't want to be stung by a proper bullet ant. But mine aren't too bad. I don't mind. I'll get stung by mine. That's not an issue. And then what to do in the event of an escape. Yeah, I mean, that would be another great video. I have several things that I do when ants escape. One of them being putting out a sugar ant tower of sugar water, and they basically, after a day or so, you can tend to find them at that because they've just got hungry and used their little sensor antenna things to seek it out. That's basically the best way, in my opinion. But on that note, I'm glad we've had such a great chat. Thank you to everyone for signing in. It's been an absolute honor, as it always is, hosting this channel for you. I honestly, I just can't say how thankful I am to everyone for watching and signing on and listening to me talk about ants. Quite frankly, I love ants. I'm a bit of a nerd, and I don't have many people around me that are into ants as well. So it's great to communicate with other ant keepers. I always enjoy it. Don't forget, you can join my Discord if you haven't already. The Discord has loads of other ant keepers on it, and it's great fun chatting to all of them. And if you want to support this channel, I always say it, just on the off chance anyone does, you can find my Patreon page as well. You get all sorts of little perks. You get to see some colonies, which I haven't shown on any of my other channels yet. All sorts of previews and little perks and stuff, and it just helps improve this channel's quality. The last thing I've just bought is a new microphone and these new cameras. The next thing I want to do is get a phone line installed for proper broadband internet, because at the moment I'm running this completely off the Wi-Fi on my phone, which is fine, but it can be a little bit laggy, a little bit slow, and I just want to up that quality for you. And then at that point I'll be able to do 24-hour live streams as well. So it's something to look forward to, and something I do want to try and push to promote is my Patreon, because it would be really cool to have those sorts of things going, but I just can't justify it to my wife and 3 kids that I'm paying out that for just this, when we have pretty much unlimited Wi-Fi on my phone anyways. But we do all rely on my Wi-Fi. I have 3 kids. We all have iPads linked on my Wi-Fi. I'm using my Wi-Fi obviously now that Xbox is on the Wi-Fi, and everything uses the one Wi-Fi. So if we could get broadband, then the streams would just run so much smoother, basically. But that's enough waffling from me. It's been great. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Send me a message if you want. I'm always about, and I'll be back here tomorrow, 8 o'clock, to draw the winners of the Christmas giveaway. If you haven't entered that, you still have time. Find it on my YouTube channel. And then after that, we'll go straight to a feed-in like this at the tank. 9 o'clock, we will start the interview with Tarantula-tastic Enclosures, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Cannot wait, and I shall see some of you there. But as always from me, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans.